12 games in, and I think it's time for our first stock report of the season. What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Wizards Latest. And let's talk about who's up, who's down, who we still have questions about here this year so far. Remember, drop your comments down below. We'll discuss the previous video's comment section here today as well. Question for you in today's comment section: what would you rather see from this Brooklyn Nets matchup coming up here this weekend? Of course, a pair of one-win teams going at it. Brooklyn will have a chance to change that before this weekend's game, Friday edition of Wizards Latest. Remember, Monday morning we'll have reaction to that matchup. But question for you down in the comment section: what would you rather see? Would you rather see a Wizards win, feel a little bit better about ourselves, maybe break this losing streak and just get a victory in that win column? Or would you rather see the Wizards lose the Tank Fest 2025 and, of course, help themselves out essentially in the standings against a team that is also fighting to be at the bottom of the league? And, of course, the Wizards trying to hold on to that draft pick next year, ensuring that with a bottom four finish. What would you guys rather see? Let me know down in the comment section. Something as a fan I'm a little bit conflicted on, I have to say. Again, never rooting against the team. Hard to root for L's, but I understand it helps the cause right now on the season. And again, in terms of holding on to that pick for next year. So make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't done so yet. And remember, drop your comments. Appreciate all the support here on the road to 1K. But let's jump into our first stock report of the year. An obvious one, Alex Sarr. There were really people saying he shouldn't be a top 10 pick coming into this year. Those were very legit redrafts. And that's just something that's going to get thrown out all the time if he keeps playing like this. Right now, averaging 19 points per game, 8.5 boards, almost 4 assists and more than 2 blocks per. Alex Sarr looking awesome so far. Again, has really embraced becoming an inside-out big man. And right now, I think proving that he's a legit 5 in the NBA. And if the progress he's made from year 1 to year 2 is going to continue, I think he very much can be that in the league. In terms of his draft class, leading in points per game, leading in blocks per game, of course, top 3 in rebounding, and top 6 in assists per game. So very much proving that the thought that he should go outside of the top 10 was a little bit wild. Keyshawn George right now, obvious, another positive so far here on the year. Right about on pace to match where I predicted his season scoring average would be: 15.8 points per game, 6 rebounds per game as well for Keyshawn, averaging about 4.5 per assist, and his shooting splits look awesome: 50, 44, and really from the line, maybe the only struggle, 66% for Keyshawn. The one maybe thing you'd like to see improve: he's averaging about 4.5 fouls per game so far on the year. This is something we've discussed on the page. His foul trouble has been a little bit of a problem at times this year. Obviously, it's taking on a lot of really tough matchups. For instance, Cade Cunningham was kind of his primary assignment the other night. And when that happens and you're a young player, it's a tough thing to deal with, but definitely something he has to clean up. And regardless, I think really impressed with what he's been able to do at defense, at both ends, I should say. Corey Kispert is going to be my third stock up player. It might be a little bit of a surprise, and it's not because his totals are so off the charts, but it's simply because his 3-point average back up to 40% so far this year. It was down at about 36% last season. Not a bad number, but when your calling card is elite catch and shoot 3-pointing, you really want to be up right around 40% for the year. Like that, Kispert has that ticked back up. And remember, whether his value, that's where his value is, and you need it to be that 3-point percentage number to be as high as it can be for Corey, whether he's with the Wizards moving forward or whether he becomes a trade asset. Let's go to the flip side, though. And remember, I'm not bashing these guys as people, want them to be successful. here with the Wizards. One of the players I'm going to talk about sitting right there on my shoulder. But right now, we haven't seen what we want to, I think, from Bub Carrington and from Bilal Coulibaly. Let's talk Bilal first, simply because he hasn't been on the court very much. Only played in 4 games so far. Remember going back to this summer and kind of the Eurobasket prep work and even the first couple games, Bilal really looked like he had shown some offensive improvement. The thumb injury at Eurobasket gets back into the lineup this year and then out of it quickly again with a calf problem. I just want to see him play, and I no matter what you think of his maybe future with the team, they are clearly better when he is on the court and in the lineup. They're much improved, especially defensively. I actually think, I know the defense has really struggled here this year, but you imagine him, Keyshawn, and Alex Sarr. I mean, moving forward, that is a ton of defensive potential with those guys right there. But again, for Bilal, I mean, when is the tipping point going to be in terms of, again, they always say your best availability or best ability is availability. Of course, I'm going to butcher that quote, but when is the tipping point of this guy just can't stay on the court? Will we see him, be able to consistently be healthy throughout the back half of the year, or I'd love to see it in the first half here as well. For Bub Carrington, it's just been flat out ugly, frankly, at times on the court. Local guy, and he's so young. I don't think that there's any reason to say he can't turn it around. His performance against Detroit, probably one of the better games he's had so far this year. Would like to see if he can maybe build on that. The one thing I'll say about Bub Carrington, it's starting to be a matter of just where does he fit in with the group moving forward. Again, I know there's a few prospects there at the top of that class next year. Of course, Boozer, Dibansa, I mean, really exciting. But if the guard there at the top of the class gets selected, if the Wizards were able to go after and land Darren Peterson, where does Bub fit into that lineup? You imagine Trey Johnson, DP are going to be your starting backcourt. We haven't really seen Bub just, claim that point guard role like we were wondering if he could going into this year. So you wonder if maybe where he fits in might be his biggest problem. But let's jump into maybe a couple of question marks I have, frankly, because we just haven't seen the next two guys I'm going to talk about quite enough. First off, Tristan Vukcevic, extreme really in this case of we just haven't seen him very much. Less than 6 minutes per game so far this year. Don't believe he's played more than 11 minutes in one particular game. He's really just been a garbage time guy, and it's kind of left me wondering, where is Tristan at? It's been Bagley pretty much the go-to backup big for Sarr. And after last year, the close that he had to the season going into the summer, I feel like really all offseason, he was one of our biggest talking points just of, this, you have the 7-footer that can shoot threes. What does his future look like with the team? Is this guy really a guy that could be, find his role as the backup big and really show off his potential? We just haven't seen it so far this year, and we haven't seen him so far very much. Another player I'll throw out that has played obviously a lot more, but I'm interested in his playing time because it's about where it was when he was with Houston, right? His first 2 years of his career, and I'm talking about Cam Whitmore, averaging 17.3 minutes per game so far this year. Last year, he was just above 16 with the Rockets, and then as a rookie, he was 18.7 minutes per. Remember, he's a player that the Wizards essentially, kind of took a flyer on, if you will, not going to fit in with a contending squad in Houston. They're willing to move on from him and see if he can fit with a rebuilding group. And so just kind of interested to see. I know the last 3 games he has been up above 20, and he's been rewarded with some good performances as well, or rewarded that playing time. But interesting to see. I was really surprised. It's pretty much right where he was with the Rockets. And I still think, I understand really the dilemma that Houston fans had about Cam Whitmore. When he came over to the Wizards, there was some fans in Houston saying, man, I can't believe we let this guy go. And then some saying, good riddance glad he's off the roster, and you're kind of understanding why. I don't know. I feel like at times he has a personal dilemma. Do I want to fit in to what they're trying to do, or do I want to go prove, how good I am and kind of get mine? Interested to see where Cam Whitmore goes throughout this year. And again, with him, and we talked about Bilal Coulibaly already in the video, they're both in year 3. They're both eligible for extensions after this year. And those are big storylines, I think, really throughout this year and things to monitor. Let's jump into the comment section here today, or here from the previous video. Remember, drop your thoughts in today's comment section about what you want to see in that Brooklyn Nets matchup. Would you rather see a victory? Would that make you feel just a little bit better about the team here this year? Or would you rather lose that matchup, of course, against one of the other teams vying for one of those bottom spots in the NBA standings? Let's talk Live Ride 59's comment. Appreciate you consistently being down in that comment section. He says, good observations on SAR. Coaches can teach the team rebounding style while still ethically tanking. We need to develop players and help them with some plays. Houston is one of the best teams in the league, and we aspire to their level in 3 years. Great point there on Houston. And remember, they can be kind of a blueprint to follow. They were a team that really was not good at all just a few years ago. In terms of the rebounding, I said yesterday that I don't think Alex Sarr is the problem. I don't think it's because he needs to move to the 4 and he's not a true 5 that the team is such a bad rebounding group. I think, frankly, at times it seems like he's the only one really battling on the boards. It's kind of him fighting for his life 1-on-5, and he's clearly shown improvement in strength added here this season. He's become a much better rebounder than he was in year 1. So if that progression kind of continues to track, I'm not super worried about what he's going to be able to do on the boards. But again, when it's kind of, just him fighting for his life and not a whole bunch of help with other guys boxing their men out, it really, you're going to have those kind of crazy, outlandish rebounding numbers like you saw the other night against the Rockets. And it's definitely something that when we kind of balance this year of, we want to hold on to the draft pick, but I'd like to see some development, and giving up just a massive amount of extra possessions isn't going to help the development side of things. You get a little bit frustrated by. Let's jump into, by the way, he also says, I've been saying, this was another point I wanted to mention there in your comment. You say, I've been saying point guard Keyshawn from the get-go, and we had discussed also in yesterday's video, I really like that Keyshawn has been so good. Not last year as well, he showed off a little bit of this, and definitely this year. I mean, almost 5 assists per game for him, about just his playmaking ability and ability to really run the offense at times. I don't think he's maybe the point guard of the future, but if you were to bring in a Darren Peterson in the draft, a guy that's an explosive scoring guard that I don't think is an 11 to 12 assists per game type player, but might give you 6 to 7 assists, clearly a good playmaker, and then you supplement him with Keyshawn George essentially being a point forward. I mean, man, again, the future, I'm putting together all these combinations, and I'm really excited about here in DC. I know we got to trudge on through some rough times here this season. Shout out Dispo. He's been consistently down in that comment section as of late. He says, I feel like when he returned, I believe it's talking about Bilal, to the debut game, he showed who he is, and that's how things are going to be from now on. Definitely slipped off, but it's not too late yet. He thinks he'll figure it out. It's just been too long. And then on a positive note, he still played more games than Brandon Miller down in Charlotte. Kind of makes me chuckle there. And again, for Bilal, just has to be on the court. And right now, again, where will kind of that line be of you're just not available enough? Or can he, again, get back in the lineup consistently here this year and put on a really good season in year 3? President by amendment says, I'm available for GM and have been since they moved Jordan Goodwin. Robert Rousey says, Coach Keefe does not know how to close out games. I'll address your GM comment. I mean, hey, there's give the Lance's crew a call. But I like our leadership right now. And for the first time, honestly, in my lifetime, I actually can kind of see what the plan is with this Dawkins and Winger group. And again, I know it's rough right now, but I don't think that, honestly, in the Grunfeld and Shepard eras, the Wizards really had a chance ever. And it was pretty much just to really build something legit in the NBA. And it was frankly because of mismanagement. And I don't feel like that with the organization anymore. It's why I always say the future is bright here in DC. We'll keep you posted on everything Wizards related. Make sure you've hit those like and subscribe buttons if you've gotten this far, haven't done so already. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate all the support here on the road to 1K. Thanks for watching another episode of Wizards Latest.